What's up guys, welcome back to Soft Knowledge Solutions, and today we're talking about Rust and its latest updates, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be showing you the best settings you can use inside your computer, obviously in Windows settings, and inside the game as well. There's a lot of settings inside this game that a lot of people do have on that is actually unnecessary to have on, and it can tank your FPS. Now this is for all users out there. Doesn't matter if you're a low-end user, medium-end user to a high-end user, or you can launch physical nukes with your computer. It really doesn't matter. This is for all users out there, the community that's playing Rust right now at this very moment with the latest update. They came out in January the 8th on 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make this video short, sweet, and simple, show you the best settings you can use in Windows and inside the game. Let's jump straight into this video. Let me show you the best settings you can use for Rust 2025. If this works for you, smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Let's jump straight into this video. Alright, so as you can see, we're on a desktop right now, and I highly recommend being on your desktop and then follow my steps from the beginning to the end of this video, and I can promise you, you will see better results in your game and more FPS in general if you do what I do right now at this very moment. Alright, so the first thing will be background apps. Please go ahead and close all background apps running in the background so it doesn't take you so long to load into the game, and also doesn't use resources of your computer like your RAM, your GPU, your CPU, and your drive itself. Right, so as you can see, I have a Rust wallpaper engine running right now at this very moment. It actually uses resources. So what I would go ahead and do is right click on it and quit out of it completely. And as you can see, I have a still image now, and this is actually now using less resources. Now, to close all background apps in general on your Windows itself, come to start of here, go to settings, and you're going to come inside here, and then you're going to go to privacy, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and go to background apps. Now on Windows 10, it's very easy to go ahead and turn off and on. It's very, very easy on Windows 10. On Windows 11, it's a bit different. Just Google how to do that. It's very easy. If you are watching my video, you have access to the internet. So just Google how to disable individual background apps for Windows 11. But if you're on Windows 10 like me, you could just turn this from on to off. Then all of these things won't run in the background, and it's unnecessary for them to run in the background, and it's going to use resources of your computer. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, hear me out. It's going to use resources of your computer. You want no resources to be used on your computer while you are playing Rust. The better feedback your machine is giving to the game, the better your game's going to perform overall. Right, from here, you can just click on the home button. Right, from here, you're going to come to gaming, and then you're going to come inside here, and you can come to game mode, and make sure the game mode is turned on right now at this very moment for 2025's update, and then come to graphic settings over here. Make sure that your hardware accelerated GPU scheduling is turned on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have this option, don't worry about it. Please don't worry about it. All you're going to need to do is go to browse over here and go find where your game is installed. Now, it's very easy to go and find it. You're going to go to your Steam apps like this, then Common, then Rust, and you're going to click on this one over here, which is the biggest file, as you can see. You're going to click on that, which is rust.exe, and to say add, I already added it, as you can see over there. It will be called Easy Anti-Cheat Bootstrapper EOS. Click on this, go to options, and go to high performance. It will then select and override to use your graphics card instead of using the CPU, then jumping to the GPU, then jumping to the CPU, then jumping to the CPU. You will fluctuate in FPS like that, and you don't want that happening while you are playing the actual game. So please go ahead and do this, and then click on save, and let it use your current GPU that you're currently running. Then from here, you're going to go to the home button, and you're going to come to the update and security. Ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead and do this. Something I just want to mention is this. As you can see, I need to restart right now, okay? A lot of people are saying that you should pause this over here for 7 days so that your PC or your computer won't restart while you are playing a game or something like that. That is old news. That is old and obsolete news. Windows doesn't do that anymore. When you are in a game and you are physically moving your mouse, just on your desktop, moving your mouse, Windows will not restart itself while you are moving your mouse, okay? So as you see here, I have an update here. Just please, ladies and gentlemen, keep your Windows up to date. It's very important. If you keep your Windows up to date, your games are going to run way better, okay? Anyways, long story short is, don't do this. Don't do this. Keep your Windows up to date. Your computer will do a restart by itself when you aren't moving your mouse or you aren't moving your keyboard for about, I think it's about 4 hours, if I'm correct. I'm not exactly sure. Someone will probably comment down below and be like, yo, dude, this is the actual hours, how long it takes for it to restart. But anyways, you do not need to pause this for Windows to not install its updates while you are playing a game. It will not physically happen with Windows. Windows has become way more clever with its updates, and they fixed that issue where you are busy playing a game or anything like that. Your Windows will update and restart while you're playing a game. It won't happen. You do not need to click this button, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't listen to people that is saying that you need to pause your updates. Please don't pause them, because if you don't do the latest updates for Windows, then your game's gonna run like shit. please, for the love of fuck, don't listen to the people that tell you to do that, okay? Keep your Windows up to date, and it's very important to do so. Please go ahead and do that. I will restart my thing afterwards, after this video. After you watch this video complete, you're going to need to restart your computer in anyways. So let's jump straight into the next step. All right, so the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is just press the Windows key in R, and if you, I don't know, for some reason can't press the Windows key in R, just come here to the search button, type in run like this, and press enter. You're going to type in prefetch just like that, and click OK. Now you're going to continue on this. I'm just going to move this from the other screen, and then you're going to click on anything inside here. Press Control and A to highlight everything, delete on your keyboard, and delete everything inside here, and say skip. Right? You're going to need to skip this because Windows is currently using this, and you can't delete files that Windows is currently using. It's basically like trying to delete Windows while you're still on it. Okay? You can't delete it. So the next one's going to be Windows key and R again. This time you're going to type in temp, just like this, TEMP, press enter, and you're going to click on anything inside here. Control and A to highlight everything, right click and say delete, or just delete on your keyboard and say try again. Once it's done this, press cancel. Windows can't delete these things because it's currently being used. Once more, Windows key and R. This time you're going to put a percentage symbol in front of the P and a percentage symbol in front of the T. So percentage, 10%, enter. Click on anything inside here, literally anything inside here. Here's this fucking bullshit company. Anyways, press Control and A, highlight everything, right click on it, and then just say delete, or just delete on your keyboard and delete everything inside here. Say do this all kind of items, and then say try again. Just do this once, and if you see it doesn't work, then do this all kind of items and say skip. Then Windows is currently using all these files right here. Now, as you can see, these are just bloatware you just deleted from your computer, and I highly recommend you go ahead and do this. Please, please go ahead and do that. It's very, very important. Then you're going to need to do this, all right? This is on my other screen. Right-click on your recycling bin, say empty recycling bin, say yes. It will now delete temporary files that was on your machine. You might have had a bunch of shit inside there or a little bit of stuff inside there, depending on how many times you've done this, okay? It depends really on how many times you've done that. I highly recommend that you actually do that like at least once a week or at least once a month. Please go ahead and do that. Just those 3 steps, and your computer will run way, way better overall, because it's bloatware that's on your machine that's unnecessary for it to be on your machine. All right, let's jump straight into the next step. All right, so the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is right-click on your desktop if you're an Nvidia user like me, open up the Nvidia control panel, and then let the Nvidia control panel open. Once the Nvidia control panel is open, you're going to go to Adjust Image Settings with Preview and be inside here. Use the Advanced 3D Image Settings, have this on this, and click on Take Me There, which is basically just going to take you to Manage 3D Settings, and it's going to take you inside here. I highly recommend that you don't do this and select an actual program, like let's say Rust. Don't do that. Go to Global Settings and use your Global Settings instead, so this can actually not just make a Rust perform better. Every single game that you're going to be playing, it will make the game perform better overall. Now, if this does help for your other games as well, make sure to smash that like button, hip thrust that motherfucking like button, leave a comment down below saying that it's making your other games run better, and Rust. I would love to hear the feedback. All right, all you're going to need to do is copy my settings inside here. I'm not going to tell you what everything does inside here because I've done this before on my previous Rust video actually, and the video before that. Just go ahead and select everything that's very important inside here, copy them as is. As you can see here, I highly recommend you put this at prefer maximum performance. So OpenGL GDI compatibility, prefer performance, then your OpenGL rendering GPU, which is obviously your GPUs you currently running. Go ahead and select it. Don't say auto select, select your GPU. Prefer maximum performance on power management mode. And then your shader cache you're going to have as a default, then off, allow, and then quality. This you're going to have on for threaded optimization. If you have a multi-threaded CPU, I highly recommend using that. Threaded optimization at auto right now. I have tested this on off and on. I highly recommend keeping it auto for Rust. Now, this one over here plays a very, very big role, and this is why I'm going to talk about this. And this is the only one I'll actually talk about in this setting. If you have a low-end machine, and you know you got not the best of graphics cards, and you don't have the best of GPUs or CPUs, or best of machines in general, go to high performance. Then your mid-tier machines, you go to performance. Then your high-end machines, you go to quality, not high quality. High quality will just in general make your machine run like dog shit. Don't use this, go to quality, and this is how you will run your machine. I don't classify myself as having a high-end machine, but I do own a 4070 Super and a 14700K. If you would like to know what type of machine you have and how low-end it is, just right-click over here on your taskbar, go to Task Manager, open it up, go to Performance, and go inside here. Click on CPU to tell you what CPU you have, scroll down, and tell you what GPU you are currently running. Those are integrated graphics. This is my graphics for what's on board onto my CPU on my physical 14700K. And then I have my graphics card right here. And then I have my memory, which is 32 gigs at 6000 megahertz. This is how you can see what kind of machine you have and what you should be using over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead and select accordingly to your machine, okay? Don't go to quality if you have a low-end machine. It's only going to make your games run worse. Please don't do that. Rather go to high performance if you know you have a low-end machine. Medium-end machine will be performance, and then high-end machines will be quality. Please go ahead and do this. The rest of the stuff inside is just virtual reality things. You don't need it. You aren't playing a virtual reality game. Just say apply, your screen might flash a couple of times if you haven't done this already, and then you're going to come to configs around in physics. Come inside here, and please go ahead and select your graphics card, your dedicated graphics card. Don't say auto select, because then it's going to jump between your GPU and your CPU. You don't want Rust to do that. You don't want your games to do that in general. So please go ahead and select your dedicated graphics card. Do not say auto select. Do not say CPU. Right, from here, you're going to come to adjust desktop color settings and come inside here. And as you can see, I have multiple screens. Just be on your main screen that you're playing your game on and come inside here. You're going to go to image 3, which is your preference. Just come to this one. You can actually see the colors pop over here. Brightness, you can have at 50. Your contrast at 65. This over here, which is a default for Windows as well. Default for digital vibrance is actually 50 on Windows itself. So 50 over here, if I can get this fucking thing on 50. There we go. That is how it will look. If you put yours to 50 right now, okay, you'll see that your screen is washed out. You don't want that. The game won't pop as much. Any game, whatever you are playing, not just Rust. Especially for Rust though, I would highly recommend bumping this up to your own personal preference, whatever you want this to be. You find your sweet spot. My sweet spot has always been 95 on all my games that I play, and I've always had it like this. I highly recommend popping your colors in general for gameplay that you are playing for Rust and every single game that you are playing out there. Please go ahead and apply these settings. Your screen might flash a couple of times. Don't worry about it. It's just applying the settings for you. All right, let's jump straight into the game. Let me show you the best settings you can use right now for the latest updates in 2025. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we are in the game right now, and I highly recommend all you're going to need to do is just follow every single step I'm showing you inside here for the best overall performing gameplay experience for low-end users, medium-end users to high-end users. This is for all users out there. You're going to come to options over here, and you're going to come to gameplay. You're going to have your field of view at 90. It's max that you can go to, so you can actually see more on your left and right hand side. You're going to have your head bob off. You're going to have your crosshair on, unless you're using something like, I don't know, crosshair apps or stuff like that. You could turn this off, but I highly recommend just keeping this on. Having this on as well. The rest of the stuff, you could just copy everything inside here. This one over here is very, very important. As you can see here, I'm actually seeing my FPS, what I'm doing over here at the bottom, right? So I highly recommend keeping this either on basic. If you just want basic, then you'll have like a basic FPS meter. And then you can also have your advance, which will be like this. All right. So it will say your RAM, your heap, and then FPS, and then in milliseconds. And then also you can go advance and ping. So you can actually see the ping you're doing to the server as well. What I would highly recommend you select is this one over here, which literally says controls visibility of the in-game FPS counter. So this, you will see this while you are playing your game. A lot of people don't use MSI Afterburner, which I don't have open right now at this very moment, and that's why I'm using this. So I highly recommend you use it as well, right? The rest of the things inside here, you can just go ahead and copy my settings inside here like this. Now we're going to come inside here. I highly recommend changing your nudity to underwear. Have this at off, off, on, off, 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 and on. Please go ahead and do this. Come to physics over here. I highly recommend just in general turning this one off over here and changing your max Gibbs all the way to 0. Okay? Having this at 0 in general, please go ahead and do this. Then go ahead and turn this off. It's going to like do this where it like stutters for a slight bit when you turn this off. So please go ahead and turn it off. And then your overall brightness, I highly recommend just changing this to 3 like this. Have it like this and you should be good to go. Okay, right? So user interface is something that plays a very big role in the game as well. Not as much, it doesn't impact FPS though, but in general I'd highly recommend you just copy my settings as they are right now. As you can see here, there are way more settings right now at this very moment with a new update. It's literally have changed. All the settings have changed inside here. New features has been added inside here. Please just go ahead and copy my settings as you see them right here. All right. Your user interface is literally to do with how you play the game. So you don't have to copy my settings, but if you want to, just go ahead and copy my settings as they are right now. Pause my video, copy my settings as is. All right, from here, you're going to come to audio. You're going to come inside here. You have your master volume at 1.0. You have your music volume all the way to 0. Have that at 0. Have your menu music at 0. Have your voice volumes at 0, like that. And then have this one over here lower than your overall audio in the game. So when you shoot, something, you can actually hear if you're hitting headshots and stuff like that, and body shots. You can actually hear it over the game sound itself. So just dip this down a slight bit and you should be good to go. I highly recommend using this. This over here, this I highly recommend just dipping this down. The voices are very, very fucking stupid in this game, and like how the audio quality is for voices, it's just bad. Really, it's bad. Then I highly recommend changing your speaker mode over here to 7.1 surround sound. You'll overall have your sound sounding way better in the game itself. Please go ahead and copy these audio settings. All right, from here, you're going to come to screen, and we're going to obviously go to resolution. Have your native resolution running. I'm actually running mine at a lower resolution. My screen can go to 4K, but I'm not going to be playing this game at 4K. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. That's just going to tank my FPS. What I would highly recommend is using your native resolution. So if you have a 1440p screen or 1080p screen, and you know you got a decent enough computer, run it at its native resolution. Please go ahead and do that. I'm running my game at 1080p so I can actually achieve more FPS in this game. I'm not going to be running it at 4K at my native resolution of my screen because I'll be doing less FPS in the game because that's 4K resolution. So I play my game in 1080p or 1440p. 1080p is a sweet spot for this game. I highly recommend just playing the game like this. It should be good to go, or 1440p. You're going to have this at full screen. Please do not change it to windowed. Have it at full screen mode for less input latency. Then you have this over here. As you can see that my FPS is limited right now over here to 240. If you put this to 0, you can then uncap your FPS and you'll do unlimited FPS in this game. And then you're going to click on apply changes. All right, so now this is the settings that my machine automatically gave me once I'm playing the game. Now you don't want this. I just resetted my settings just so I can go back to basically my settings that it will give me with my rig that I'm currently running. But this is not how you want to be playing your game. You want a competitive gameplay, you want smooth gameplay experience, you want overall better FPS. I mean, my FPS just jumped over to 700 by pushing it to unlimited FPS. Now dropping these things down will actually then increase your FPS even more. So I highly recommend changing your graphics quality overall to either very high or ultra. Just have your overall quality of the game look really good so that your textures look good in the game. If you have a really, really low-end computer, I would then recommend choosing medium over here and you should be fine, okay? But I do recommend in general either high from here or very high, or you go to ultra, depending on the GPU you are currently running. You'll know what GPU you are running. Right, render scale, I always have this at 1.0. Just leave this like this and you should be good to go. Please go ahead and do this. Then the shadow quality, you can actually drop this. Please go ahead and do that. This one over here plays a very big role in the game itself and how it performs with shadows. There's so much settings in this game right now with the new updates that you can actually turn off to have a smoother gameplay experience and overall can see way better in the game and overall have your FPS to boost up and have a smoother gameplay experience. Go ahead and say no. Right? So you don't want anything to happen over here at all. You're going to change this to 0. So your max shadow lighting. So in general lights, turn them off. Water quality, you're going to turn all the way to 0 as well. Then the water reflections, all the way to 0 as well. Now, there's a sweet spot for this over here, which is your shader level. Now, it's a sweet spot for certain machines. It's going to depend on the machine that you are running. It's literally going to depend on the machine that you are running. Mine is running 600 and it can run 600 perfectly fine. But a sweet spot that I have found is actually 300. I'm not going to lie to you, 300 runs really, really well. And overall, with your low end or your typical gaming machine would be 300 over here. Then this one will be dropped as well. Your draw distance will be dropped as well. Please go ahead and change this. And it's a very, very big role to change inside here, which is going to be changed to 1000, between 1300 and 1400. I normally leave mine over here like 1410. This is where I leave mine. And I highly recommend you do the same over here as well. Your shadow distance, now that you turn shadow off completely, you don't even need this anymore. Or what I would recommend is you'd put this in the middle-ish. So basically, like, it goes to 1000. So basically, obviously, you're going to have this at 500. If you can get it there, I mean, you could just put it as close as you can. Mine is 501. That's the closest I can get it to. Just leave it like that, and you should be good to go. All right. Then you have your anisotropic filtering. I highly recommend leaving this at 16 times, okay? It's supposed to be 16 times, but it doesn't say times over here. It just says 16. What I recommend is just leave it at 16 and leave it there, and you should be good to go. Please go ahead and do this. This one over here, the mapping, you're going to have at 0. Please go ahead and do that. Then the global rendering. Ladies and gentlemen, the global rendering is something that plays a very big role in this game itself as well. I highly recommend it literally says that you must restart your game after changing this. If you have a machine that is struggling with FPS in this game, and you're really struggling with FPS, just go ahead and turn it off. If your game is still running okay with all of these settings like this that I'm about to show you, and you have this on, test it on first. Please go ahead and just try it on. Then, if it's still running like dog shit and your game doesn't perform as well, turn it off, but you must restart the game. Please restart your computer after changing all of these settings, ladies and gentlemen, for these settings to take effect for Windows and inside the game as well. Then relaunch your game, and if this game runs way better, smash that like button. Alright, then you get your global rendering distance. Okay, now a lot of people don't understand what these things do, and now that there's so much more things in the game, people don't understand. So when you hover over it, it actually says affects GPU usage should only need to decrease on low-end machines. So if you have a low-end machine, so let's say you have a low-end machine, right? I would highly recommend then dropping this to about 600. That would be a sweet spot for it. Like, just obviously you can't get to exactly 600. Have it over here if you have a low-end machine. Medium-end machine will be in the middle over here. And if you have a high-end machine, go to 1500 and you should be good to go. This one over here, it literally says displaces grass when walking over it. Okay, I have mine on, so in general it doesn't impact a lot of FPS when you have this on. Just have it on. All right, then you have your grass shadows, have it off. All right, so Nvidia reflex mode, which is actually Nvidia reflex low latency. As you can see, it says there system latency. This you should never have it off. Okay, this is how this works. If you have a, let's say, a higher end GPU than a CPU, you put it on plus boost. If you have a higher end CPU than a GPU, you put it on. Okay, please go ahead and do that. That's how this works. So if your GPU is way better than your CPU, put it on plus boost, which will be the most case scenario over here, is people having better GPUs than what they have CPUs. Put it on plus boost. Don't put it on off, because then you can't actually get all the juice out of your graphics card to push into this game. Please put it on plus boost and leave it there, and you should be good to go. Please go ahead and do this. Right, have this off. Just in general, have this off. All right, so the mesh quality over here, this plays a very big role in the game itself as well, and I highly recommend just changing it to what I'm about to show you right now. You don't need it to have like this. You really don't. I mean, I can play my game perfectly fine like this, but overall, I want my FPS to boost up. I want my game to look good. I want to be able to see everything in the game, and also have a smooth gameplay experience and have my game looking good. All you're gonna need to do is drop this to 0. At least have this between 100 and 50. I'm going to leave mine at 100. I would highly recommend you put yours at 50 over here. This one over here, you're going to have your tree quality at 100. And then the rest, you can just turn all to 0. All of them. Just turn them to 0 and you should be good to go. Right, and the image effects like this, I highly recommend changing this. If you want your game to still look good and also overall boost FPS, you're going to turn this off. You're going to have everything turned on inside here. Every single thing turned on inside here except that. So you're going to turn that off as well. You're going to have your depth of field off and have everything like this. If you want more FPS in general over this game, then I highly recommend having this off, this off, this off, this off, and then this off as well. And just have these 3 on like this. And you'll have an overall better FPS experience in the game if you're running a low-end machine. If you have a higher-end machine or a medium-end machine and you want your game to look really good, you can go over here and go to TSSAA, have it like this, have your depth of field off, ambient occlusion, have it on, high-quality bloom, you can have that off, lens dirt off, motion blur off, sun shafts off, and then sharpen on, this on, off, and on. Run it like this and you should be good to go. This is for medium end machines to high end machines. Low end machines, I just showed you what to do. Just go ahead and change it to that. Right, from here, you're going to come to this over here, Experimental, and you're going to be inside here. You're going to have everything copied like mine as is, and you should be good to go. Right, one thing I do recommend you please go ahead and do is change this option over here. It actually says it in blue. Faster loading into servers, especially on fast SSDs. Turn this down or off if you are having problems loading. Must restart the game to take effect. Now, if you want your game to render in quicker and load in quicker, please go ahead and select this option over here and you should be good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, smash the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here. Hope this helped the community as usual, and as always, peace out.